Yeah, there was one day we were planting woodlots, northern Alberta somewhere, and I dropped a crew of maybe 6 guys off in one corner of the land, and then there was another crew, 6 guys that were down the road a bit, and I was driving around with the farmer who was showing me his land, and the first thing that he stopped and showed me was an empty nest about 30 feet up in a tree. And he was telling me about some crows that had lived in it, and he said, you know, there was some crows up there, and you know, there were baby crows, and when they first were born, I started feeding them. And I was like, wow, that's really nice. You know, I had this image of this kind of tough northern Alberta farmer who was, you know, he obviously hunted, and I feel like he probably hung those metal balls off the back of his truck. And I thought, you know, like, maybe I'm misjudging this guy, you know. And then he told me even more about their story, and he was saying how when they grew older, they started to really squawk a lot, you know, being young babies that squawk like crows do. So I guess he fired a couple warning shots. I can't even tell this story. He fired a couple warning shots to quiet them down, but I guess being crows, they didn't get the message. Oh, I can't do this. So then he told me how he got his shotgun, and the quote he used was, he went up there and he blew them all away. The baby crows that he'd nurtured from birth, because they were making too much noise. Anyways, so we were driving along through his land, and he was showing me stuff like that, and we could hear he had this 8-foot-high patch of thorny something or other, and I could literally hear that group of 6 planters screaming, like, just, you know, primordial cries of like pain and suffering coming from there. It was like something out of Dante's Inferno. And you know, and then he started telling me, like, I wonder what they're yelling about. And I was like, oh, they're in those bushes I saw, you know. And he said, oh, well, I'm just hoping that it's not the wild boar. I was like, what? He's like, there's a wild boar that's around here that's pretty aggressive. I'm like, there's a wild boar out here? Is that even legal? Like, can we have these guys planting there? So I texted my supervisor at the time, Jonathan Scooter Clark, and asked him if we had a policy in the company handbook on wild boars, and he said it was in progress, but we didn't really have much direction. So thankfully nobody was skewered that day, and it all worked out.